Hey guys, what's up? My name is Garrett Galvin. I'm a videographer, photographer, blogger in the adventure travel industry, and I've been video production freelancing for like 6 years now. So today I decided to put a video together on all the big tips that I have for you guys, all you beginners out there, and yeah, let's get into it. Cue the logo. Hey, welcome guys. I am currently in Sayulita, Mexico. Just been surfing, kind of hanging out in between jobs, doing some freelance online. It's been pretty chill. One of the nice perks is being able to live wherever you want all around the world and yeah, just produce videos, right? So, okay, so check this. So let's get straight into it. We're gonna talk about some of the tips. We're gonna go into camera gear tips and then talk about more production tips. And then ultimately we're gonna end on the most important part, which is business tips. So tip number 1. So what's the best beginner camera for you to get? Let's say you haven't even got into this yet. You're just kind of scoping it out. What's a good starter camera? Now, some people would say any camera, but if you want to get a camera that you can kind of get stuck in on and not be limited and kind of have that flexibility to be as creative as you want, I would say the GH5 would be the answer. If you're a little bit more on the budget side, I would say the GH4 is another great camera that you can get for very cheap. Another reason for these camera choices for you is that they kind of, you can get a lot of cheap glass to go with them that are fairly high quality. Like the EF series lenses and the Sigma Art series, all those lenses attach well with an adapter to the Lumix, and they're quite good. Even some of the native glass from Lumix are pretty good as well. So something to think about. I think the GH5 or GH4 is a pretty good answer. I think the GH4 is somewhat like 700 now, and the GH5 is about 1,300. And their capabilities, I don't think are gonna be obsolete for a while. So as a beginner, what kind of lenses should you get? Well, honestly, for the low cost and the high value, I would look into the Sigma Art series. Super sharp glass, kind of heavy, but you know, that's the price to pay for cheap, awesome glass. And then the Canon L series EF glass. Tons out there used. You can usually get them. I've gotten all my EFs for super cheap and on discount because they were used, and it's just they're easy to find. So versus, let's say, Sony glass, which is now on the market. There's a lot more used coming onto the market, and it's easier to find a cheaper deal on Sony. But still, Canon EF has been around so long, and so there's so much more of it out there. So what's the best editing software for any beginner video production freelancer? Honestly, if you want to create this business, or if you're just dabbling into not really knowing if you're going to commit to it full-time forever, I would say start off with maybe a free software. One that I would recommend that's better than Movie Maker on your Mac is probably DaVinci Resolve. It's free right now, and they do have like a different tier for color grading, and you're not even there yet, so just don't even think about color grading. But just for basic editing and something that you can not be limited in your creation, like maybe Movie Maker on the Mac would limit you, I would definitely say DaVinci Resolve. Kind of give you that space to grow. So what are some of the best hard drives to start? Well, really, it's just any reliable brand hard drive you should get. Like, obviously you want to keep costs down, and you just want to get something that's fairly high value. So WD or G drives or something like that. Those are all really good. I prefer Lacy, but I only think I prefer Lacy because like when I started doing this and I was traveling a lot, I would just like throw hard drives in a bag, and I wanted something that they were like the first rugged ones, so you could drop them and all that stuff and they wouldn't, yeah. So I do Lacy, and I have like a billion Lacys right now, but the only reason I think is because they were super rugged and they just worked for me. And the only time you need faster drives, and this is when things will get expensive, is when you start dabbling in 4K and above. As long as you stick to 1080, you can use a lot of the cheaper drives. If you grow, obviously eventually as you grow, you'll want to get faster drives and SSDs and all this other stuff, which, but hopefully by then you're charging your clients more and you can afford it, right? So yeah, any drive works, okay? So best subscription-based music licensing, hands down Artlist. I mean, I've used a lot of different companies, anything from Epidemic Sounds to MusicBed, and Artlist is just kind of the most intuitive, fastest, and they don't, they just do one price and it's good for anything, right? So it's not like Epidemic Sounds, it's like one price is for your YouTube and your social media, and then another price is for your commercial client work, where Artlist is one price, covers everything that you do, and for actually cheaper than some of the others. So as far as music licensing, definitely I think Artlist is the good one right now. Oh yeah, and if you guys sign up for the annual subscription, I can get you 2 free months with a link down below in the description. Okay, so now the tips are kind of curving more towards the production part of video production freelancing. Okay, so my tip number 6 to you guys is start shooting more. As a beginner, you can't always wait around for clients to come around. You have to constantly keep working at it. You have to constantly keep practicing. So my suggestion is start a YouTube, hey, or start a Vimeo, or start some way of creating stuff that you're passionate about and showing it to your friends or showing it to people that you know, and have them critique you. Not only clients are there to critique you and keep their, you're working with their vision and producing content, but also it's good to just kind of embody this lifestyle and this career to make sure that you get as good as possible, as quick as possible, because I mean, I've been doing it 6 years and I'm still learning. It's insane how much information there is out there on this, and it's actually why I love it. It's not only is it an art, but it's also a lot of technical detail knowledge that is just insurmountable amounts of knowledge that always seems like there's a next thing to learn about. So very cool. But the sooner if you start shooting, the more practice you get, the better you're gonna get, and the more you can offer clients, and the more they will see they just want to give you more money, because there's no way that somebody could have learned it overnight. So yeah, definitely start shooting more. So one thing I've learned over time is not to shoot too short. Try to aim for at least 10 seconds. Every time you click that button, you're gonna shoot a scene or something, just shoot for 10 seconds no matter what. You need a little bit of wiggle room in the editing room, the beginning and end, and also you just kind of, sometimes you have to wait for the cream of the scene. God, I don't even know where that came from. Cream of the scene? I guess it works. You got, there's this moment when you're shooting that is, you got it, but then don't stop it too fast, because you'll make it weird, in editing. If you don't, that cream of the scene, let's say you shoot for 10 seconds, if that cream occurs in any portion of that 10 seconds, at least you'll have a little leg perhaps, at the tail ends of it. Just know when you hit that cream, say, ocean crashing waves and this bird comes flying right over it and it's just perfectly framed, perfectly composed, and you shot the beginning of that wave starting to crest and then crash as that bird flew through it and stuff like that. Just having that extra on both ends makes sure that you can kind of when you're in the editing, kind of find that perfect spot where to cut and end it and to start it. So yeah, so always shoot for 10 seconds. You also don't know what's gonna happen within every 10 seconds. If you shoot too fast, sometimes you cut yourself short of some event. You don't know how many times I've shot, and if I would have just held it for a little bit longer, I would have captured something amazing. Yeah, but that's just how it goes sometimes though. But yeah, so shoot for 10 seconds. Make that a rule. So one thing a beginner should definitely start working on is understanding what dynamic shots are, using angles to tell stories, and stuff like that. Like, so for instance, one, famous shot is the hero shot, where you have, like, let's say a guy's riding a motorcycle and you're shooting from below and it makes them look larger than life, right? So, experiment with those types of shots, or like dynamic shots, like push-in shots, rise shots, pull back shots, parallax shots. Like, all these types of shots are like fundamental to filmmaking. So as a video production freelancer, it's very important to know all of your tools, all your abilities to produce great work. So yeah, start doing your research, start practicing those types of shots, and yeah, it'll be really good for you. All right, so you got the angles, you got the dynamic shots, you're working on all that stuff. Now, how do you put all those shots together? How do you build a story from that? And so that goes with this tip: shoot for story. Like, for example, when I was in Yosemite shooting a few vlogs out there, I was creating this story of this, one of my good friends, Mariah. She was walking to the ledge, taking a photo, being satisfied with that photo, and that was the story. And a lot of times you'll find that, the stories that you create are kind of basic like that, but they can be penciled out and really easily planned. But you have to, like, get those shots that are dynamic, that are interesting, that kind of tell that story and kind of link those shots, so that when someone watches it, it kind of leads them into the next thing and the next thing, but it all kind of makes sense. It's not just a bunch of randomness, which people lose interest into randomness, like, so quick. So yeah, shoot now that when you have all those dynamic shots and everything, think about that, like shooting, how do you link those shots? How do you create that story? And you should be doing that before you even start shooting. All right, this tip is so important and it's gonna save you a lot of time. Shoot with purpose. I know, when you're out in the field and you haven't got a, kind of when you're running, gunning, and you don't have a storyline, you're kind of just like maybe overshooting. Well, as video production freelancers, when we get back to the editing room, we are gonna have to scrub through all that footage. So always remember that, to shoot with purpose, because it's just gonna save you an incredible amount of time, frustration, and by plotting things out ahead of time, scripting, or just having shot lists and all that stuff, it'll help you out so much to know that you've achieved the shots that you had to do, you did it as efficiently as possible, and your post-editing self will be much more happy with the filmmaker you, right? So shoot with purpose. So now we're gonna talk about a little bit more of the business side of things. So essentially, to get more clients, or to get clients at all, you're gonna need to build a portfolio. Now, it doesn't have to be a website right away. You just have to have some form on the internet that you can easily give a client a link, so that they can come check out your work when you're pitching them, a project or something like that. I started off personally with just a YouTube. I've done over 100 videos on YouTube. I used to have a blog. That evolved into this video production freelancer that I guess I am today. And yeah, that along with my Instagram, I've been able to secure a lot of work. Oh yeah, that and going to a lot of conferences and just doing a lot of word of mouth thing. But even in those conferences, I have to show people my work. So just having some work online, wherever it is, just so you can get that job. All right, this is kind of more advanced, but this is a tip I wish I knew in the beginning. Know your niche. Like, just pick a niche. Like, think about what kind of videographer you want to be, what kind of video producer you want to be, and really just go for it. Like, and if there's no work now, or if it's a little bit more competitive or whatever it is, like, just keep grinding it out, because the more you do it, the better you'll get at it, and then all of a sudden you'll kind of be the choice for it. So personally, I did adventure videography, venture travel. I was kind of like went into general travel, a little bit more adventure, and then started getting clients that were within that realm. Had to say no to clients that wanted me to like shoot soccer games for their kids, or just like weird random projects that I knew would get me nowhere in the dream videography life that I wanted. Yeah, same with wedding's easy. Wedding's all around you. It's I feel like you can always like be a second shooter for someone who's doing a wedding as a beginner, but I don't know, like if that's your thing, if you want to go into weddings, I mean, definitely there's immediate money in some of that stuff, and it might be alluring to you. But if you really have a dream to something bigger or something different, I would definitely, my best advice would be to, whatever that dream is, grind it out, stick with it, say no to other jobs, say yes to the jobs you want, and the jobs you want in the future, right? Because word of mouth is the best marketing. And if you work in a certain industry, whether that's adventure photography, adventure videography, or motorcycle videography, or something like that, those people are gonna talk and tell other people like, oh, well, who did your video for you? And they're in the industry, and then all of a sudden everybody wants that from you because you're the guy that knows how to do it. So yeah, pick your niche, live it, love it, learn it, and stick with it. All right, now thank you guys for waiting this long. This next tip is gonna be like probably the best tip I have out of this whole video. So how do you get more clients, and how do you, or if you're that beginner, how do you get more experience and to level up what you do and get yourself to be getting better clients and better pay? Well, so right now, I want you guys to, after this video is done, I want you to go and look at some of your 10 idols you have, or like 5 idols, whatever, people that you're like are working in what you want to be working in, like the industry, like whether it's travel or adventure or weddings or whatever niche they're producing video, or Nat Geo documentaries, I don't even know, but whatever niche that they are in. I want you to send your emails to them and ask them well, first of all, tell them what you can do, like what you can provide, and ask them if they need help. Because honestly, I don't know any video production business out there that doesn't need help. Like, it's an insane amount of work. And yeah, so usually you will find that maybe not all 10 will get back to you, but a few will. For me, I did that challenge, and I sent 10 emails out, and I only got 2 responses. But those 2 responses kept me busy, kept me paid. I mean, I hiked across the Camino. I hiked across Spain, shooting 14 episodes for Spanish tourism. It ended up having me shoot a bicycling video, 5 episodes across the Czech Republic. It had me shooting a bunch of stuff in Hawaii. Those 2 people that I reached out to had me working for about 4 years. So I've had such a huge return off accepting that challenge and sending out those emails, outreaching and saying, hey, I can do stuff. These are my abilities. Here's some of my work. How can I help you? And I shit you not, that method alone will really, either get you on the projects that, you are capable of, or even push you to that next level to learn how someone that's better than you produces, these big episodes for big brands or big government agencies that require quite a bit from you. So definitely, that'd be the biggest, probably the biggest tip of this video. Yep, I said it, don't quit your day job. Okay, well, in this case, video production freelancing is quite expensive. So not only are you gonna need money to invest in yourself, to invest in the cameras, to invest if something breaks, to invest in glass and all this other stuff, you're also going to need the ability to say no to projects if you're going to use a strategy that I said in the last tip. But yeah, I think it's so important to have other cash flow coming in so that you're not the videographer just doing any videography job, that you can really make a name in the niche that you want, in the videography dream that you have. So you're gonna need some extra cash flow. So personally, I was a bartender. I bartended for 14 years. Like I bartended way before I started video producing. And I just kind of took that skill and I was like, look, I want to be a video production freelancer. I want to be in the travel niche and I have to make money to order to support that dream. So I kept doing bartending and keep saving money and throwing into gear and throwing into equipment and throwing into affording the time to practice and create videos on YouTube and all this stuff. So yeah, so my personal tip would be, and through my experience, would be to don't quit your day job. Think like a business and create your products. So the simpler you make everything, like, how much you charge per day or how much you charge per hour for editing, the clearer you are and the more structured, like you have a structured sheet that you tell them, the easier it is for them to kind of gauge the value and make that purchase. Of course, you can always negotiate and kind of go all over the place. A lot of questions beginners have is how much should I charge as a beginner? A lot of it is kind of, how confident you are with everything, what confident of price that you're willing to charge for the value that you're creating. A very basic, simple way, if you're still unsure what that price would be, is to just, find out what's your cost of living, how much gear have you invested in, and then basically figure out the cost of doing business. So where that you even out, and then add a profit percentage on top of that. So figure that out, and then that's a really easy way to get a good idea of what you should be charging in, say, the country that you live in. And last thing, one of the most important things here is don't work for free. Always charge something. Whether you're just beginning and it's minimum wage, or you've been doing it a while and someone asks you for a favor. No one's ever going to value your work if you give it for free. So make sure you charge at least something. So let's say you don't want to go straight into pitching, you don't want to send 10 emails out, or you don't want to, you're just dabbling maybe in editing. Maybe you're a strong filmmaker, but not so much a strong editor. One way to get into video production freelancing is just to start a account on a website, a freelancer website, so you can find some work. Two I recommend are, either Fiverr or Upwork. I mean, that's where I look when I need help as an editor. Like if I need an editor, or I need a writer, or that's where I look. I go straight there, find people and use that site. So if you want to create a business on there, kind of dabble in it, set a cost of what you charge for editing and find some clients, so you can kind of get comfortable with, maybe pitching or doing more personal work, one-to-one, face-to-face. Try that out, start there. All right, this is kind of like a throw bonus tip. Yeah, this kind of like a little bit more borderline intermediate or advanced, like something you guys will think about. You maybe should start thinking about it now, but don't start working on it now. For right now, just work on your basic skills, work on everything I told you before. But this one will eventually come up because I think video production freelancers are we're not in this realm anymore to just produce the video and hand it over to clients. I think things are moving more towards a video production freelancer should also know how to distribute those pieces of work. Okay, so it's like the one-man band here thing. And of course, as you get bigger, you build your team, but you really are kind of almost like a center of creation, but you could also be a center of distribution. And if you can nail these two sides of things, you could basically take any business and take them from the production all the way to distribution, and you can charge quite a bit more money for that. What I mean by distribution too is, let's say you made a YouTube video and you gave it to a client, and then they post it on their YouTube and it gets like 10 views. Now, let's say if you were a distributor, if you focused on distribution as well, you would maybe know some SEO strategy, you'd know a little bit about how to create that content in the first place in order to make it watchable, because different platforms like, let's say, Facebook or TikTok or YouTube, they all have different styles of video production that fit that audience. So let's say Facebook is more short form, and then YouTube is kind of more longer form, stuff like that. The little things to know before production that you can tell your client and say, let's make, what makes a better distribution or makes a better video for your platform that you're working on? Probably something more like this short form, fast subtitled thing, like blah, 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 blah. But just thinking as you get bigger and as you build your team and as you become more like a video production agency, that naturally where the more money is not only being able to produce it, but also distribute it. And that's just way more value you can offer to clients. So start thinking about that, but maybe, if you're just starting out, all those other tips is where you want to hang out and focus on for the most part. And this will eventually come up when you're really trying to scale and grow your business. All right, guys, thanks for joining. I hope you guys got a lot of great value out of that video. Leave me some stuff in the comments. Tell me where you're at, where you want to be. If you have additional questions, let me know. I'm more than happy to help you guys out. If you want to see more content, also let me know that. I haven't really done one of these pieces before, so if you want to know more about video production freelancing or anything that I do, I'd be more than happy to create some more videos for you guys. So like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.